I don't need to be in a box. I'm not like a pair of Jordans or anything.
I'm sure there's some dumb thing that's advertised on Facebook, and I think I've seen it before, where you can have yourself made into a tree that grows. Like they mix your. Oh man, I don't know how I saw this on Facebook.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know how Facebook's algorithm chose to advertise this shit to me, but
they're like, hey,
we think you'll like this.
Yeah, they're like, you're getting up there. It's a crazy time in the world.
I was like, damn, bro, I'm 38. I'm not fucking like about to retire and shit. What the hell?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's something where they mix your body and they put a tree seed inside of you or something, and so you sort of almost literally grow into a tree, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
That's like some Willy Wonka shit.
Or do you remember the cartoon on Nickelodeon, David the Gnome?
Wow, man, you are speaking to my soul right now.
Yes.
Speaking to my heart. I actually woke up like a couple weeks ago for the first time in literally years. Like as soon as I woke up, for whatever reason, David the Gnome like popped into my mind.
Really?
Yeah, I just remembered how I used to think it was dope that he had the fox and he would like ride on the fox.
Yep.
So I looked it up and I watched David the Gnome for like 45 minutes. Probably.
Did you watch the very, 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 very last episode of David the Gnome?
No, I probably should though.
Bruh, it ends so weird. I am not even going to spoil it for you.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's kind of freaky how they decided to end it, because like, I mean, I don't know. It's not like it's like the writers took it like way too seriously. Like look, this isn't Lost. This isn't Star Wars. This isn't fun. Like you don't have to just say, I don't know why I brought up two J.J. Abrams things, but like you did not take this that seriously. It's a kid's cartoon. Yeah. Just but they took it a little. They went a little ham with it. Yeah.
For real. Well, stay tuned to next episode where we completely break down the final episode of David the Gnome.
David the Gnome. This is the NBA talk you tune into here. So. Did you see recently, I think Steve Nash was on a podcast with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes.
Oh, yeah, the fucking the smoke. What the fuck?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure.
I think it's called
All the Smoke. I think is what it's called. Yeah. And they were talking about Steve Nash's game, and Steven Jackson called him Scrappy. Or no, Crafty. They called him Crafty. And he just said Crafty is another word for white. And I was like, yep, that's kind of exactly what that means.
He's a gym rat, dude. He's got.
It's true.
There's Crafty, there's gym rat, there's like sneaky athletic.
Yeah.
Sneaky athletic. He's got a good basketball IQ. He's a hustle player.
Yes. He's a floor general. They automatically promote them to general for some reason. Like, damn, bro.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Damn. That's a little bit of privilege there. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's like a security guard guy that's with the blonde curly hair that's next to Jordan all the time.
Yo, that fucking guy, the guy that played quarters with him or whatever.
Yeah, he's a floor general.
He's a floor general. Like, by the way, the floor general never started as like private, lieutenant. Like, he didn't have to work his way up. He got the general pretty quick because his parents like knew somebody. You know what I mean?
True.
Paid for him to get into USC or something, and now he's a general, like right out of college. That's what Steve Nash is. No, he was raw though. I that's all jokes aside.
Yeah, no, Steve Nash was the G. I was mad that he got that second MVP. I thought it should have went to Shaq. But
okay.
I'm also biased though because I'm a Heat fan and Shaq was on the Heat that season. But I mean, just the amount of assists that he got while scoring as much as he did.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty nuts.
When you say he was a G, the G stands for general, as in floor general, because that's what Steve Nash was.
Yeah, man. He was sneaky athletic.
I saw somebody make a meme recently. This is where our podcast has digressed to because there's no NBA going. The playoffs would be happening right now, by the way. I saw a meme where everybody's taking the Last Dance and using all the scenes to make memes and stuff, which is amazing and beautiful. It said something like about how LeBron thinks of him. There's a scene in, I think it's some HBO show where LeBron calls himself the greatest player of all time.
It's a barbershop show or whatever.
Yeah, where he said after he won the championship in Cleveland, he considered himself the greatest player of all time at that point, which is obviously a shot right across the bow of Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
But and then of course it shows the scene of Michael Jordan like watching that clip on his iPad or whatever, and then laughing at it, type of a thing. And then right after that, it says, "Man, LeBron James lost to JJ Barea and Jason Terry in the finals." And I was like, "Oh, damn, man, that's true. That's true. Also,
true. It's pretty fucked up. Like they conveniently leave out Dirk, but it is true.
Yeah. Who's considered like one of the best, I'd say, power forwards, like top 10 in the history of the league, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's funny. Actually, the people that I talk basketball with out here, just the casual basketball fans, a dude, and way younger than me, by the way, because I'm 38. This guy's 22. Walks up to me and he says, Johnny, I got a quick question for you. I don't care how you answer. I'll respect you either way, even though I hate the Celtics. But I'll respect you either way. Who's the greatest power forward of all time? And my instinct said, Tim Duncan. He goes, you're absolutely right. Carry on. And I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy that someone his age is fully aware of Tim Duncan and that Tim Duncan is probably the greatest power forward of all time.
I think he is. As long as
now Malone's numbers are pretty intimidating. His scoring numbers, I believe, isn't he like top 5 in scoring all time in the history of the NBA?
Malone is number 2 all time.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, and we're not talking about Post Malone.
No. That's Karl Malone, truck driver, power forward, not an NBA champion.
Yeah, he got Michael Jordan.
He did. But that's a position, I think, it's a weird position, right? Because the center is always the tallest guy on the court. And a small forward is a guy who, in today's NBA, is kind of referred to as the swing man, right? He's a guy that he does a lot of stuff on the wing. He can shoot from anywhere. He can drive. The small forward can kind of do anything. The small forward position has, in the past, I'd say 20 years, become like the scoring position on the floor for any NBA team. But the power forward position, like how do you say to a guy, you're going to be the power forward, you're going to play the 4? So you're telling him he's not the tallest person on the court, but what is his role? What does he have to do?
I feel like the center doesn't necessarily have to be the tallest dude, but he's just got to be like more bangier and bruisier, It's going to get down there, bump around and shit, and protect the rim and shit.
That's fair.
It's like Dirk played the 4 a lot, and the center next to him wasn't always like taller than him. They're just maybe a little stronger,
Well, name some of Dirk's centers.
I mean, fuck, damn. That's
right.
Tough. I got like EriCK Dampier.
EriCK Dampier is the first one I can think of.
Fucking what's his name? Tyson Chandler, where they won the chip.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
really fucked up by not allowing that to continue. Tyson Chandler was like the perfect dude next to him, and now you have 2 7-foot dudes that are like relatively agile, and like one of them's all defensively like leaning in his skill set, and the other dude's like a top 5 scorer of all time. Like,
yeah. If you, okay. So transport yourself back in time to when they put EriCK Dampier at center. EriCK Dampier was a solid center though. Like he was a guy you put in for points. Like that's what he could do as a center, is he could score like 15 a game, I think. I can't remember who he played for before Dallas, but he was like a decent center. Like he's a decent scoring center. You could put him in for like 10 to 15 a game and he was good for it. So, but I prefer Tyson Chandler, though. I see what you're saying there.
Yeah, and by that point, too, Dampier wasn't really doing a lot. Like Dallas Dampier didn't really do all that much. He was
Truth.
like, he kind of like, I'm seeing he's hovering around like 9 and 8 most of the time at best, like while he's in Dallas. But he was solid in the Warriors. He was on the Warriors prior to that.
Yeah, that's what I remember him. Yeah, he was on the Warriors that beat the Mavericks when they were the 8th. It was when they upset him as the 8th seed, right?
I think so. Actually,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think he was.
Baron Davis, Steven Jackson, that team.
He was.
That was when I used to actually like the Warriors.
Man, talk about bad luck. This man, EriCK Dampier, was on Dallas when Miami beat them in the finals in 2006. And then in 2011, he was on the Heat when Dallas, that was his first year coming to Miami from Dallas.
That's
and
rough.
Then fucking Dallas won.
That's rough. That's just bad luck.
I gotta say, after he left the Heat, then they won the 2 in a row. So maybe EriCK Dampier leaving your team does good things.
It's the key to winning it. Yeah.
The team he was on before Dallas, the Warriors, dude.
Oh,
whoa.
That's rough. Whoa, that's rough.
Out for them, you know. Nah, he was like a worker dude. He was a solid role dude, center, like kind of throwback to the 90s type dude. I mean, shit, he started in 96. So, I mean, he is the 90s. He's got a dope middle name. His middle name is Trevez.
Doesn't he spell his name ERICK?
He does.
Damn. That's a gangster thing to do, by the way. Gangster. That's a gangster thing to do.
Yeah, man. He's not fucking around. He wants you to really get that in there. And make sure you don't forget about that shit.
Yeah. He ain't just Eric. He's EriCK. Don't fuck around.
For real.
The Last Dance.
Have you seen them all? Have you seen?
Yes, I am all caught up.
It's been pretty good.
It's pretty damn good. Yeah, I'm very, very like I like that they're. It's basically fleshing out all the details of like the stuff that I saw, because like here's what I'm realizing watching it is like in the 90s, like there was no like this. A lot of this stuff is like, well, most of it is like pre-internet, pre-social media. So like. A lot of this stuff, you just had to follow it sort of on the surface level. But like now I'm getting to see like the 90s Bulls like dug into, like somebody's digging into them a little bit. And really like, some takeaways, like Scottie Pippen finally getting some respect on like the level he deserves it, even though he's already a Hall of Famer. But getting the respect he really fully deserves and like solidified, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he gets some respect, but they also like Jordan also like kind of shows some disappointment towards him too, like but I guess in a Jordan type way where he acknowledges that he needed Scottie to win.
Yes,
and that Scottie was probably one of the next best basketball players on earth after him.
It's true.
But he also like I remember where he was disappointed about when Scottie was holding out, when Scottie didn't want to play, when he had the surgery and all that stuff.
Oh, for the last season? For the last season they won the championship?
Yeah. And he felt like he should have put his contract like grievances aside and just played. But it's like, yeah, easy for you to say. You're like destined to be a billionaire.
Yes, I believe that season, if I remember correctly, and this is my memory coming from the 90s, from 20 some odd years ago. I believe he signed a 1-year, $30 million contract with the Bulls.
Like just for that, to finish off
just to finish off that last season. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's well worth it. You know what I mean? And they won the championship. So, but damn, 1 year, 30 million. And Pippen never, ever, ever, ever landed a big contract. He never, ever, ever got paid. Never. And he should have. Portland didn't give him that much money. Houston didn't give him that much money after the fact. Chicago never fucking paid the man. Never.
He got some good money when he was on the Blazers.
Is that true?
Yeah, I'm looking at on Basketball Reference right now on the front page. There's like all these links to just things relevant to the Last Dance. So you might want to pop that up because it's pretty some cool shit on there. But anyways, yeah, I'm looking at his contracts and it's nuts, man. I think I don't know if he knew like what his true value was gonna ultimately like end up being.
I think he knew, but I think everybody else was like, "Come on, man, really? Like, we don't need you. Like, what we don't need. Like, we got Michael Jordan. Like, if you went away, it would mean nothing." But like, I think having him there was a huge. I mean, Jordan admitted it, right? So,
yeah, but I'm pretty sure like a big part of this is that he signed a really, really long contract. Like, I think it's like
it was a bad contract, though.
Yeah, it's like a gnarly like fucking it's like a 7 or 8 year deal.
Yeah, it had weird numbers. It didn't divide out nice and evenly. Like is it the first one he signed after he was drafted?
Yeah. Well, it's after he ran through his like because they all get
contract.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's just crazy. I think it's a 7-year deal. Yeah, and it's like a little at its highest point, he's making a little over 3 million, and it's like for 7 years. I don't know when he signed that, like if he knew that he would be, much more valuable than that. But then he goes to the Rockets and gets 11 million for one season. But then he gets a pretty fucking big 4-year deal in Portland.
Yeah, which is kind of nice. I mean, he earned it. I mean, he had earned it up to that point. But man, it's just weird. It's just surreal that the Bulls just never felt the need to really pay him. I mean, they weren't a stingy team. You know what I mean? Like it's a relatively big market. You know what I mean? It's big enough to where they can afford to pay him a little more than that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't feel too bad for him. Like he's rich now. Like he's fine. Like I'm not like worried about like is Pippen living on the streets? Like obviously not. But it's just I mean it's one of those like what could have been like had he not been drafted by the Bulls.
Absolutely, yeah. And to put in perspective, so Scottie Pippen made 109, pretty much 110 million in his career, which is like fucking awesome. 110 million, fantastic, right? EriCK Dampier is like right almost at 100 million.
I like that you kept EriCK Dampier's numbers up. That's fantastic.
But yeah, man, so that kind of shows, even though, basically what you're saying, that like, yeah, he did well. Like, it's not like nothing to cry about, $110 million.
Right.
But, that was definitely not like all that he could have gotten out of his career as far as his value and everything. Like, he probably generated more money than that just by playing basketball.
The documentary seems to make a point, actually. I think it's episode 3. I can't remember. But it's the whole episode where they go into Pippen and his background and how he's from like Central Arkansas, like a very small school, had a big growth spurt from like, I believe his junior to his senior year or something like that. And just like completely fleshed out all of his skills. But they make it a point in the Pippen episode to mention that he was like one of the they look at the salaries of every player the year that he signed that contract, and he was getting paid worse than like a lot of other players in the league that just like should not have been getting that kind of money. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know how the fuck they did that, man.
I have a feeling Jerry Krause did not know what he had in Scottie Pippen.
No, I think he did, and they knew that they were getting a good ass deal.
Okay, yeah, you could be right. Yeah,
that's what I think, and I feel like, one thing. Well, one more Scottie Pippen comparison, and I won't keep going, but this one's kind of unfair because of like inflation and shit like that. But so we got Scottie Pippen at 110 million. Chris Bosh, his career total is 242 million. Damn.
And Scottie Pippen has 6 rings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fucking insane. Honestly, if you add up that whole bad contract, all 7 years of it, Chris Bosh has single seasons where he made more than that.
The money nowadays is nuts in the NBA. Well, the NBA is a much bigger game nowadays than it was in the late 80s, to be fair, or even the early 90s. But still, it's just yeah. And you're right. It's not a fair comparison because of inflation, but still.
And just the explosion of the NBA, which, like,
yes,
Scottie Pippen played a role in that, though.
He did play a role in it. Yep.
And dudes were making big money around him, just not him. But, yeah, that's just nuts.
Another thing they mention is, and this is from one of the earlier episodes, is how they talk about the teams that could have drafted Jordan. I think Portland was the main one there. Portland drafted Sam Bowie instead of Michael Jordan. And I don't know why, like, I guess people always mention it because, like, why didn't does Portland have all these regrets? And it's like, no, not really, because they had Clyde Drexler. He played Jordan's position. So it's like, why draft Jordan? Because you already have your version of Michael Jordan on your team. I always forget that Clyde Drexler was drafted before Michael Jordan. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
And Clyde Drexler is like the king of like being 20 but looking like you're 40.
Oh yeah, he had fucking Greg Oden, LeBron disease.
Clyde Drexler, man, they showed him in like the 92 finals, where Jordan was like super pissed about the fact that he was getting compared to Clyde Drexler. And I was like, damn, man, that dude already had like the bozo bald haircut going on. Yeah. And I was like,
he's 29. He looks like a TV show dad already and shit.
Oh man, Uncle Clyde.
Yeah, I know. I feel like that shit about Clyde is like totally true. Like, Michael Jordan is obviously Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler is Clyde Drexler, but I feel like just because of that part alone, people might not realize that Clyde Drexler was fucking awesome. He's got like 2 seasons back to back where he averaged 27 points. Like, dudes aren't just putting down 27 a game any old time.
Yeah, those are elite numbers. Like, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of it's funny because the documentary kind of only mentions him quickly because they played the Blazers once in the finals, but they kind of shits on him a little bit because they were comparing Jordan to Drexler, but Drexler deserves a little more respect than that. I mean, geez, like, he's probably the greatest player that Portland's ever drafted. I mean, until say Damian Lillard, right? I mean, yeah, Portland isn't like a team that just like has, a huge legacy of draft picks and championships. So they're just like, they have Clyde Drexler. Bill Walton, of course, yeah. But Bill Walton even did all of his good stuff when he was with the Celtics, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. He kind of got shit on a little bit. He's one of those like overlooked Hall of Famers, to be honest.
Oh yeah, and
It's kind of
he had
weird.
dude, this man had a ridiculously long career. It's like 14 years or something like that. And every single season except for one, he never averaged less than 17 points a game. And that one season was his rookie season. Came off.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, but then for fucking 13 years after that, he was good for like 20 a game plus, so sometimes close to 30.
I mean, he's consistent. He's just I mean that's all you can ask for your all-star player.
But yeah, I feel like all that kind of goes along with the fact that the documentary is so controlled by how Jordan views things. You know, like he's part of the documentary. You know, he's a producer on the documentary. Like,
yep.
There's not going to be anything in there that he doesn't want to be in there, and it's kind of all from his viewpoint. So, like, yeah, in Jordan's mind, like fuck Clyde Drexler. Who the fuck is Clyde Drexler? Like,
seriously, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, because Clyde Drexler has no championships. It's kind of crazy how. That's a great point. Actually, I totally forgot that Jordan's like a producer on the whole thing.
Yeah, there's other parts in it that made me think that, like, when they show the series against Orlando, they never talk about Shaq. They show Shaq and they say his name, but they show all these highlights and it's like all Horace Grant. You would think that Horace Grant was the best player on the team.
Yes. To be fair, Horace Grant is a one-time All-Star. He won that while Jordan was away. Like when Jordan was away for 21 months, I believe, when he went to try to play baseball. Yeah. Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, and Scottie Pippen were all All-Star players from the Bulls. Like they had 3 All-Stars on their team still. Like Horace Grant and B.J. Armstrong did not win All-Star. Were not All-Stars when they were when Jordan was on the team. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they had to rise to the occasion of his absence and shit.
Sure.
Horace Grant, it was like a swag icon as well with the goggles, man.
Oh, those goggles. Plus, cool. Which, by the way, he doesn't wear. Like, he doesn't even wear glasses in his normal everyday life. Like they're showing him in this documentary. By the way, he's 54. I gotta say, the whole black don't crack thing is so fucking true.
He looks like a college freshman.
Dude,
he looks like Zion Williams.
He looks 30 years old. It is nuts. He's 54 and he looks like he's 30. It is crazy. But no, I'm surprised they waited so long to actually. I mean, he doesn't appear until a few episodes in.
True. What the fuck?
Yeah, and apparently I didn't realize he was the guy who I guess there was a book written about how weird Michael Jordan is in the locker room and how much of a dick he is in practice. And
Michael Jordan, how much of a dick he is and how weird he is. That's a good title of the book.
It takes up the whole cover.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, how much of a dick he is.
And also how weird he is.
But I guess they scapegoated Horace Grant and they said he was the one that gave all the information, like was just like telling this author.
Well, for the Jordan rules, yeah,
the Jordan rules. So,
yeah, man, that's sneaky, man. Clearly, that's what Michael Jordan thinks happened.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's true. It was definitely Horace. I know it was Horace. Like, come on. But Horace Grant was like, no, it wasn't me, man. It wasn't me. Horace Grant was so cool. I like when Horace Grant went to the it was weird when he went to the Magic, like, because that's when I was living in Central Florida. He felt like free, like he could do whatever he wanted. The Magic fans loved Horace Grant. They fucking loved him.
It's
like
true.
Shaq was amazing, of course. Like you knew what you're getting with Shaq already because he was just like, he was huge and he was quick and he dunked all the time. Penny showed up, and Penny was like a facilitator, and he was out there doing shit.
He was doing like Magic-esque shit at times.
But Horace Grant doesn't do anything particularly awesome on the court. He catches rebounds. He's got a good mid-range jumper. You catch him on a fast break, he'll dunk it in for you. But he doesn't really do anything like spectacular. He just does like the basic fundamental like power forward shit.
Yeah, he's like a Haslam. He's like, you got to have that guy. You know,
you have to have it. He's the workhorse. Like one of their big plays was just like it was like a bread and butter play for them. Because I used to watch them a lot because they were like that's the only team you could catch like every night in Central Florida
on TV and shit. Or no, you're talking about Magic. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying on the local station, Sunshine Network
for sure.
Sunshine Network would show Miami games down where you are, and would show Orlando games up where I am. Like their bread and butter play, which is a standard like pick and roll top of the key with Horace Grant. You get two defenders like on Penny, and then he kicks it out to Horace Grant for like that top of the key mid range jumper. It was like 100. He was 100% from that with that shot. It was nuts. It was ridiculous. Yeah. But Horace Grant he was so happy on the Magic. I don't know what it was. I mean, he was happy to win the championships with the Bulls, obviously, but he felt like so free. He could do whatever the fuck he wanted on the Magic. Oh man, but he looks so young. It's stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny how like the series where Orlando beats him, they talk about like how tired he is, and they don't show Shaq doing anything cool.
Yeah, I know.
And they just briefly, like, I think you just hear Shaq, like, because they show the clip, and it's like Marv Albert. It's like Marv Albert is just doing play-by-play, and he says his name real quick.
Yeah,
and then Jordan's just like, I was tired. And then, Horace Grant, shit. And then that's it. And that's why he lost, because he was tired and just, like, the pain. Yeah. Of Horace Grant just over there, just all in the blue jersey. It's like, by the way, Shaq was on the team. But anyway.
Yeah, we didn't even mention it. It's funny you say that because I just saw like one of these like fan-made video things where they talk about the Jordan and Shaq rivalry, where like and I never thought about it this way because but Shaq says he learned a lot from Jordan. I mean, I guess a lot of players learn a lot from Jordan. I shouldn't say just Shaq, but
most people in life, I feel.
Yeah, learned a lot from Jordan. I'm learning a lot from Jordan shit. But like they talk about how like when Jordan left, like that's when the Magic started really rising up. And I totally forgot about like the timeline there. Jordan leaves after they win the 93 championship. Shaq was drafted in 92, I believe, and then Penny in 93 because they got the 2 first draft picks in a row, which is like crazy odds. So that's when they started rising up. And that's, of course, I think they went to the finals against Houston and got swept. But like Shaq, like, and then of course they beat the Bulls in the playoffs in 95, the 94-95 season. That's the season where Jordan came back, and they showed the Nick Anderson steal, which was like, I remember watching that game. I was like, oh my God, Jordan should not have come back. Nick Anderson just stole the ball from him. This is ridiculous. And the Magic beat them in like 6 games. And I was like, the Magic are going to be like the next best thing, which the documentary makes the case too, that like everybody thought the Magic were going to be the next big thing. And obviously they weren't, but, I guess my point was, so they talk about the whole like relationship between Shaq and Jordan and how like they met so many times, and like Jordan always wanted this revenge against the Magic, and like Shaq was trying to solidify himself as like the best player in the league when he was in there, because like he was pretty much unstoppable anyways, right, at his position.
Yeah, and he was an icon. He was already averaging like 29 points.
Yes, quickly.
Doing movies and music and like
his own shoe.
Yeah. In some ways you could say, he had the blueprint though, like right away, like from Michael Jordan. It's like, oh shit, what do you do when you're Shaq? It's like, I'll do all this shit that Jordan and all these other guys are doing.
Exactly. Like, right. It's it was kind of funny. Yeah. He had his own shoe, the movies, like you said. And then Yeah, but because of the way the timeline worked out there, Jordan retires, and that's when the Magic actually start to like rise up, and they're like the kings of the East with this badass offense and everything. One of the things they mentioned about Shaq in this little video that I caught is that I didn't realize that he's considered. They put him not in the Hall of Fame because obviously you can't get there yet, but he was already considered one of the top 50 greatest players like in his third season. Like the numbers he was putting up already, they were already considering him one of the greatest of all time, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, Shaq is like a phenom. Like he's arguably literally the most dominant player, like just on the court of all time. When you see, there'd be like 4 dudes on him and it doesn't even matter.
And he dunks the ball in anyways, yeah. That being said.
Oh, but Shaq is in the Hall of Fame though already.
Oh, he's in the Hall of Fame? Okay, yeah. There was some weird thing where they said like in his like third season, they had already decided that like he's already going to like be in the Hall of Fame, or he's already considered one of the 50 greatest players or something, or
it was that season. There was like a special anniversary of the NBA. I don't know if it was like 75 years or 50 years.
I think it's 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years, 200 years. And they did the like 75
200 years.
I think it was 75 best players, right? Or 75 greatest or 50 greatest.
It was the 50 greatest because it was 1945 to 1995, I think, is the 50 years that they picked there. Yeah. And he had been in the league 3 years. Yeah.
They had seen enough.
No, it's true. And he was already, when they showed his numbers, I was like, damn, he was putting that up as a rookie. And then like 3 years in, he's like, he was dominant, like from the start. It's kind of crazy.
Putting up 29, like 11 rebounds, almost 3 assists.
Those are like MVP numbers.
Yeah, 2.5 blocks.
Yeah.
He's shooting almost 60%. Yeah, I feel like there was a moment there where Shaq was pursuing that like greatest ever spot, but that's not really like Shaq's whole thing though. He kind of like just wanted to have fun. But I think when he was three-peating with the Lakers, it was like, oh man, well, you're well on your way. You know what I mean? Because we hadn't seen that since Jordan. So,
Well, it actually made me realize why he left, because when they start talking about the Shaq and Michael relationship, which I didn't realize there was much of a relationship there. I don't think there really is, but people talk about their whole, it's like a silent relationship type of thing. It's kind of weird between Shaq and Michael Jordan. Like, Shaq left Orlando because he's like, I've done all I can do there. Like, that's it. Like we got to the finals. Then we won 60 games the year after that and got swept. Like, that's all we can do. Like, I think Shaq left for LA because he had a better chance of winning a championship out West than he did in the East.
Yeah. And it's like LA versus Orlando,
Oh,
the Magic, this is like one of the most historic franchises.
Yeah, Magic are a small market, but it's just crazy. I didn't realize like it's weird when you start to see like why certain players make certain decisions. You know what I mean?
For real.
Because I remember at the time everybody in like Central Florida was like super like, man, fuck Shaq, fuck everything, fuck him, burn your jerseys, do all this shit. And it's like, well, he has a reason for doing it. He actually legit wanted to win. Like I think that's why he went to the Lakers.
Yeah. Career total salary, 292 plus million.
Shaq. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, and that's NBA salary. That's not including like sponsorships from Reebok. He does commercials for everybody. The General, Icy Hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Buick, I think he did for a while. Like, it's nuts. He can't even fit in a Buick.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Shaq.
Do you think they'll do like? It's a pretty epic documentary, I have to admit. I mean, it's a 10-parter, and they're going through like they keep. I like the way they're doing this whole thing where they go back and forth. Like they're going through the very last season, but they keep going back to the other 5 championships before it, and they just highlighting what's going on in those seasons too. Like, do you think there will ever be something similar to this that the NBA can do? Like with like LeBron, maybe, like, and just talk about his career?
Yeah, I mean. Well, Kobe's final season was also filmed documentary style.
Oh, for real?
Yes. But it's like they don't really know when that will ever be used, and especially just with him passing away and everything. And he was providing a lot of feedback in the process of it. But that could be one that we see. Totally different scenario going down. Because he's not competing for a championship in that season or anything.
Yeah, and he's not here anymore to be interviewed. So yeah.
But yeah, they could do a LeBron one would be good. I mean, the cool thing about LeBron, I feel, is his multiple stops during his prime gives it would be dope to have a movie about each one. You know what I mean?
Multiple stops. Oh yeah, Cleveland, Miami. Cleveland again, then LA. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, or I guess the whole LeBron movie as a whole, I feel like that would just be interesting. The fact that there's these little chunks of different chapters,
Yeah, for sure.
If they did that, but that would be pretty epic. Just because I think if he wins a ring in LA, no one's ever done that before. No one's ever gone to three
different teams.
Yeah,
no, Robert already did it.
He did it.
Yeah, I think so.
With San Antonio,
Spurs, Lakers, Houston.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he's not.
Sorry, LeBron.
Sorry, Robert Horry.
No, Robert Horry's Robert Horry's not sorry.
Yeah, put some respect on his name.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
but yeah. Damn, LeBron can't have shit, dude.
I know. Honestly, it kind of as much as I love this documentary, and Michael Jordan is awesome, and you definitely have to always put him in the GOAT consideration. But I still think it's LeBron James. I still think LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. Officially.
Wow, bold.
Yeah, I got to do it. Yeah, Michael Jordan's amazing, and to see man, the end of I was just telling you before the podcast that the last minute of episode 7 of this documentary, where he's basically sort of dispelling the myth that not dispelling the myth, I shouldn't say that. He accepts the criticism that he got of being a dick in practice, right?
Yeah.
Of being an asshole to every other player on the team, but that he only did it because it makes them want to win, right? He was weeding out the players who don't give a shit, right? He's I only want people with me that want to win. That's it. You know what I mean?
A lot like this podcast. That's
it's true.
a lot of potential hosts, that we had to fight to the death.
And now we're just down to 2 kings. That's all there is to it. But it's weird. The thing that really got me and gave me goosebumps is the very last part of that scene of episode 7. Michael Jordan is literally transported back in time. Not literally. He's figuratively transported back in time to when he was playing, because he says the sentence, "If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way." He's talking present tense. He's not talking in the past. He's reliving the moment during this documentary, during the interview,
staring off into the middle distance and shit, just taking himself to that.
He was such a competitor that he still he still hates on Isaiah Thomas to this day, and I love it. And by the way, Isaiah Thomas totally deserves it. He deserves not having been on the 92 Dream Team. He made enemies with everybody. David Robinson said it. No, we didn't want him on the team. Plain and simple. We hated him.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame too, because he was a bad motherfucker, but he's also kind of a trash motherfucker too.
I mean, he gave himself that name. He made himself the bad boy of the bad boys. So
it is what it is.
What were you just talking about?
I don't know.